Good morning. I'm Berks County Commissioner Christian Leinbach, and I want to welcome you to our Commissioners Board meeting for March the 20th. We are broadcasting via Microsoft Teams live event, also on BCTV, as well as our YouTube and Facebook live pages, and obviously in person. We'll call the meeting to order with a moment of silence, followed by a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll recognize my executive assistant, Veronica Laporte, to read the public comment policy.
Good morning. Thank you. Public comment will be accepted in person and through the Q&A function. Please include your first name, last name, and municipality for all comments. Any comments without name and municipality will not be considered. Each citizen can submit one comment. Comment length is dictated by limitations of the platform being used, Teams Q&A, Facebook, and YouTube. In-person comments will be accepted first, followed by comments submitted virtually. The meeting comment period is limited to a total of 30 minutes, including both in-person and virtual comments. This time period may be extended at the discretion of the board. Please be concise. Comments that are germane to county business will be read during the meeting and should not be considered to be interactive dialogue with commissioners. The county solicitor shall be the final arbiter of whether a comment is germane and should be read. Any commissioner response to public comment will be done at the discretion of the commissioners.
Thank you very much, Veronica. Are there any additions or corrections for the March 13th meeting minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. We did have an executive session yesterday, March the 19th, dealing with personnel. There's no public comment on agenda items in person and none online. So we will move right into our agenda. Item 1, authorizing under that budget. Adopt a resolution authorizing 2024 budget transfers in the amount of $256,744 and 2024 appropriations in the amount of $3,468 and 2025 appropriations in the amount of $1,258,141 per listing dated March the 14th of 2025. We have one item listed under Human Resources, authorize an additional stipend for Doug Bowden, Deputy Director of Facilities and Operations in the Facilities Department. This is due to additional duties required in the Facilities Department. Commissioners, number of items. Item A, adopt a resolution authorizing Mitchell Darcourt, County Treasurer, to open a new bank account with First National Bank, Wyomissing, Pennsylvania, as an investment account to lock in fixed interest rate. Item B, adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency project modification request for a subgrant amendment for the Victim Witness Assistance Unit in the District Attorney's Office assigned to juvenile probation. Item C, adopt a resolution authorizing the following. 1, execution of a bill of sale for the Ebling Memorial Bridge, Muhlenberg Township, transferring all counties' rights, title, and interest in the Ebling Memorial Bridge and any appurtenant, sorry about that, got stuck in a word, rights of way to the Township of Muhlenberg. Item 2, execution of the Deputy Director of Facilities of the Notice of Acceptability. Item 3, execution by the Chief Operations Officer, or in his absence, the Deputy Chief Operations Officer, of any and all additional documents necessary to effectuate the transfer. Item D, adopt a resolution declaring an emergency with respect to repairs to the HVAC chillers located at the Berks County Courthouse, 633 Court Street, Reading, PA. The emergency repairs are necessary to maintain building temperatures required by code. Such declaration shall waive any and all requirements of the procurement law and shall ratify and confirm the purchase orders issued by the Director of Contracts and Procurement and authorization signed by the Chief Operations Officer for the repairs. Item 2, a motion to authorize the execution of contract agreements and amendments as set forth on the contract agenda listing dated March the 17th of 2025. There are a total of 9 contracts. There are 2 with the Area Agency on Aging, 1 with Children and Youth Services, 1 jointly with Children and Youth Services and Juvenile Probation, 1 with Information Systems, 2 with Parks and Recreation, and 2 with the Solicitor's Office. Item 3, a motion to authorize the execution of the payments and electronic transfers for the week ending March 21st of 2025. And item 4, a motion to authorize the execution of the employee payroll disbursements dated March 25th of 2025.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I will second that motion. The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. We'll move now to reports of our treasurer and our controller, and we'll begin with our treasurer, Mitch Darcourt, with the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today we have an opening balance of $70,320.91. We have a balance to clear of $4,769,810.98, leaving us with a balance of $165,300,509.93. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And moving now to our county controller, Joe Rudero, with the controller's report. Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the week ending March 21st, 2025, the total cash disbursements is $4,565,692.31. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe. And moving now to our Chief Operations Officer, Kevin Barnhart.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Just want to cover 2 items on the agenda. The execution of a bill of sale for Ebling Memorial Bridge. We really want to thank our partners in Muhlenberg Township for working with us on this turnover project for one of the county bridges. It took several years, significant. It's a very small bridge near Bernhardt Creek, Bernhardt Dam, but also was an extensive amount of utilities that were crossing through this bridge. I want to again thank Muhlenberg for their efforts in taking this bridge in permanency. It's a replacement, not just a repair. And item D, the HVAC chillers. This is one of those typical lead time issues with HVAC chillers. We expect to receive a new chiller probably June or July of this year. Our backup chiller on the courthouse is a very involved process. There's literally an effort being made to trick this chiller into thinking it's 88 degrees outside, so it then starts to chill the water. Why I bring this up is that there will be, at some point in the near future, a temporary unit on Court Street. It'll be the size of a trailer, like 53-foot trailer. So there's going to be some inconvenience in entering and exiting the courthouse with this temporary chiller sitting in the parking spaces. We're probably going to be restricting any sort of foot traffic in the side door on Court Street into the courthouse, not the service center, but the courthouse. So we'll be making significant notification to our employees as well as the general public when this unit will be housed on the street. There's really no better place to put it. It's a very loud unit, but we were thinking of other options to put it somewhere, but that's probably the only place it's going to fit to get us through at least July or August of this year. aging buildings
Mhm.
require, unfortunately, some massive overhauls and things like this as we go forward. Anything you'd like to add, Larry? Okay, that's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move now to commissioner reports, and we'll begin with Commissioner Dante Santoni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things. The commissioners had the opportunity to attend a couple of events in the past week. The last Thursday evening was the municipal officials dinner through the Center for Excellence in Local Government at Albright College, CELG. Many municipal officials around the Berks County area, our local government officials were there. The three commissioners were there. And the issues that they've talked about, I'm not going to get into the details, but the 4 issues that they focused on was the EMS crisis in Berks County and throughout the Commonwealth. The lead and copper inventory in our buildings, economic development in Berks County. We were represented well by Jeremy Zaborowski from our IDA and Jamie Perez from our economic development team were there to discuss that. And our chairman talked on the last issue on transportation and mass transit. So it was a very good night. A lot of information between our local officials at the event. We also attended last Friday, I believe it was, March 14th, the ribbon cutting for the Berks Community Health Center, state-of-the-art medical campus in downtown Reading, which we're really happy about. It's going to be many of us remember the old Community General Hospital, so there's going to be a lot of opportunity there, funded through new market tax credits and through Finanta Community First Fund. So it was great to be able to provide additional healthcare services for Berks County and specifically for the city of Reading. I just want to do a quick brief report on CCAP, County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania Spring Legislative Conference was held this last weekend in Harrisburg at the Hilton. All 3 commissioners were there. Some of the highlights for me were I now am been appointed to a couple of different committees. The Elections Reform Committee, we met and talked about some of the priorities with elections reform. Jonathan Marks, Deputy Secretary of the Department of State, gave some updates related to the SURE and the election training initiatives, funding opportunities, and some update on vote by mail reform. So there's a real feeling amongst the committee members that we have an opportunity to make some changes, positive changes, non-bipartisan changes to the election process. So I look forward to sitting on that committee and doing that. I also was appointed to the Assessment and Taxation Committee. We talked about the reassessment issue that's very much in the news today. There's a bill from Senator Fontana that will require a 5-year cyclical requirement for reassessments, but will also be some funding in there. So we'll see where that takes us. And also, we've been talking about this for a long time, the opportunity for counties to have other options for taxing rather than just on property tax. So that committee will be working on some of those issues, and we'll make some formal recommendations at the annual meeting this summer at Seven Springs. Some of the breakout sessions I attended. One of them was for new commissioners, for those of us that have been in it a little bit over a year, and we talked about some of the challenges. Heard from some veteran commissioners as to what they encountered, and gave us some good ideas as to what we can do moving forward. It was also, I sat in on the potential of a new committee, recreation, tourism, and arts, and how it works with our county governments. Very much aligned, and the opportunities that we can have working with that. So that was the first couple of days. The last day, I had a great opportunity, along with my fellow commissioners from Berks and a number throughout the state, to go up to the Capitol for Legislative Day. We had a great opportunity. It was like old home week for me. I got to sit on the floor and listen to. And we sat in on some sessions, saw some old friends there that I had served with when I was in the legislature. So that was a really great and special day for me personally, and I think for the whole CCAP group as well. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much, Commissioner Santoni. A number of items. I'm going to start by reading something I often don't read, but this update was provided by our Chief Operations Officer, Over the last month, I've received 2 or 3 calls on this exact issue, and over the years, I've heard multiple times. This is an update on the bypass lights. This is up around the cloverleaf of 422 and Penn Street. People may have noticed there have been light poles down, lights out, light heads off. This is a complicated thing, and why the county is involved in this at all, I will never figure out. It's been this way for many, many years, and it's kind of the county and Med Ed. So here's the update. Pagoda Electric, Med Ed, and McCormick Taylor, they're the county engineer, met last week to devise a plan to continue the progress on the highway lighting through the 422 corridor. They are going to begin work at Lancaster Avenue exit later this week and plan to have most of the lights in that area lit next week. Caveat, that's the plan. The best laid plans of mice and men can often go awry, but this is a plan in that area. The control boxes have arrived in Med Ed's material yard and are scheduled to be installed by April 1st. Med Ed has given Pagoda Electric the approval to begin installing new or repairing all the light heads and bulbs as they deem necessary. Additionally, PennDOT has given Med Ed and Pagoda Electric the approval to bypass the standard permitting process for obtaining highway occupancy permits. This is required when a lane closure on the highway is needed. If they're using an approved agency to perform the lane closure, and PennDOT is notified 24 hours in advance. Lane closures can only be performed from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. and are not allowed on weekends or holidays. With all these obstacles removed and positive collaboration, we should, and the word is should, see great progress over the next few weeks along the corridor. And the only reason I'm so careful is we've been talking about this since I took office. And it's been an off and on, and still don't really have a long-term solution on who should take over outright ownership of these.
County owns it.
We kind of own it, but Med Ed is also responsible for certain portions. That makes it convoluted.
Yeah.
I think both sides would prefer the other side was fully responsible.
If there's accidents.
Yeah, go ahead, turn your mic on.
If there's accidents, the solicitor's office has always been the one responsible for collecting payments associated with automobile accidents when they come down and we get the notification. So trust us when we say that we'd be more than happy to turn it over to somebody else to deal with this issue, because it's an absolute mess.
Right.
And I will commend the facilities department, especially as of late. They have really tried very hard to try to get the lights up and functioning to a greater degree, but it's a challenge in terms of getting through the bureaucracy to get this accomplished.
Yeah, and it's especially interesting because the county only owns one road in the entire county, and that's County Welfare Road at the North Campus. So it's convoluted, but it's the nature of government at times. A couple of other items. I also was at the municipal officials dinner. It was a very different format than we've ever had before. Channel 69 news anchor Tom Rader was the MC for the event, and they put together some video clips about different topics. And then Tom came out and did interviews on those topics. Definitely a very good event. Also wanted to note that we saw the announcement a week or two ago that Amtrak bus service between Reading and Philadelphia was stopped. Our bus is not our bus, it's OURBUS, the name of the bus company, has launched new service, and instead of the Amtrak 2 runs a day, it's 3 runs a day, and on weekends 4 runs a day. Initially, they're using Sprinter vans for more efficiency. I know they're stopping in Limerick. They've also committed to more promotion and making it easier for people to secure tickets. Those were the frequency of rides, the lack of marketing, and the difficulty in securing tickets, all I think impacted the success or lack thereof of the Amtrak ride. Our buses have already been doing things for a number of years, from Reading to New York and other locations. So really appreciate them stepping up. I'd love to take credit for it, but I'm not taking credit for it. I think, as I understand, our bus, as soon as they saw this, jumped in and they saw a business opportunity, and that's the way it should be. So we'll keep an eye on how that goes. I want to mention that we do have a Commissioner's Town Hall coming up next Tuesday. It is at the Wernersville Public Library. That's Tuesday, March 25th. Doors open at 6 o'clock. The program begins promptly at 6:30, will end at 8. And by program, the commissioners will give opening comments and then open it up for Q&A to those that are attending. We continue to do these around the county at member libraries that are members of our Berks County Library System. Stephanie Williams put this together, and it's been very effective. I also wanted to note, I was at CCAP with my colleagues, just share a few things. One of the workshops I attended was called Communicating with Farmers in Distress. They talked about the more frequent cases of farmers' suicide and noted that when a suicide occurs, that's too late to intervene for that farmer. They do intervene. The Penn State Extension was presenting this. They intervene with the family, but they talked about some of the issues, understanding the stress of weather, the stress of debt, the stress of how ag markets work compared to a lot of other markets. There's a lot more government control. You look at dairy as one of the areas they specifically talked about, and the price fluctuates dramatically. They talked also about something called the agrarian imperative, and that is, and this is true across anybody that is in farming of any kind, the farmers tend to hold on to their land at all costs, and sometimes that in and of itself can create stress. They talked about top 5 areas of net farm income in Pennsylvania. They're dairy, eggs, broilers, cattle and calves, and miscellaneous crops. They also highlighted, and I want to do this as well, the 988 mental health hotline. That is a mental health hotline that's promoted. I know MHDD, Pam Seaman promotes that. People who are dealing with a mental health crisis, considering suicide, dialing 988 like we would dial 911 for some other type of crisis. There's also Penn State has a webinar that they are providing, communicating with farmers under stress. Just was a very eye-opening program, very different than a lot of the programs that I've gone to. Another workshop I attended was NACO AI Compass, talking about challenges in government, governance and compliance, cybersecurity, copyrights. I just saw this morning a significant number of Hollywood and music industry celebrities have signed on to a letter to the Trump administration asking the Trump administration to protect copyrights in the proposed AI rules and laws that will come into play. And if you think about it, there's some real serious concerns. If you know how generative AI works, it goes out into the internet and it grabs the information that's out there and creates something new. And the question is, at what point is something plagiarism and a copyright violation. This is even true. And in this session, Rita Reynolds from NACO showed us a video that she created through AI by putting instructions, text instructions into the AI. And in 3 minutes, she had a video that was created. Those images aren't created out of thin air. They're pulled off the internet. They're not necessarily straight up clips stolen, but the generative AI is able to create new content. She created a picture for her presentation, again, generated out of AI, giving AI instructions. There are a lot of opportunities, though. The ability to optimize social services from a delivery and from access standpoint, personalizing service delivery, developing more efficient forecasting, especially when it comes into the budgeting arena. She explained, and I don't know, Joe, if this could play a role in auditing. My guess is it could, but using AI tools to go into a budget, and I want to emphasize this, in a closed environment. You do not want to do this in a free AI, but taking your budget in a closed environment and looking for potential waste, fraud, and abuse, looking for inefficiencies that from a human standpoint you might find, but could take hours and hours of digging. Very fascinating. The point was made, you can do this, be more effective without increasing spending to do it, and potentially finding savings. Improving public safety, creating tailored local solutions, and engaging, using it as a tool to engage the community, get feedback from the community that's meaningful. There were a number of other things I'm not going to touch on. I just want to share quickly. We did go to the Hill on Tuesday, and I have a few photos to share. See if I do this better. Yes, I did. Got that. So we were in the house that Dante used to practically live in. Where was your spot here? Is it
Last one.
right here?
Last row, yeah, last seat on the corner.
Right there.
Best seat in the house.
Yeah, because he can get out and get in without hardly being seen.
Already to get that seat.
So that, and the chamber there is absolutely beautiful. This is the image in the very front. This is a view looking to the back. And this is a painting of Valley Forge, General von Steuben training the revolutionary soldiers. And then, and we were looking for Michael Rivera. We couldn't find him. He was somewhere around, but we got a picture the night before at our legislative reception. And so we had Dante, Representative Jamie Barton, Representative Eric Weekneck, Representative Yohani Freites, Representative David Zimmerman, and myself. So we also got some pictures on the floor of the house. What was interesting, there were at least two of you. They announced that CCAP was there. Some of us on the floor, some in the balcony, and they specifically recognized Commissioner Santoni as a previous member of the body, at which point we threw him out of the commissioners. No. So with that, let's go back to the agenda. That is all that I have. Any row officers comment?
I don't have anything at this time.
Okay.
I don't either. Thank you.
Any public comment? Okay.
Before I make a motion to
Sure.
adjourn, Mr. Chairman, I think we should announce that we do have an elections board meeting this morning
forgot
at
about
11
that.
a.m.
11 o'clock.
11
yes.
o'clock. I'm telling you. Happy spring. Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adjourn.
The meeting is adjourned.